What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. As you can see from the title, Newcastle have made their third bid for Guehi. But today, people, it is a very, very busy show with outgoings on the agenda, mainly. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you will be happy with that, as I can see in the chat already. Oh, just relegate us already, or Glazer's walking out the door. The conversation's already started. It's already started. But if you do enjoy the content, people, please leave a like and subscribe if you do enjoy it. Most importantly, it helps us out massively. As I've been saying for the past few weeks, we're so close to 5K. We finally hit 5K. So thank you to all of you in terms of helping us grow this community. It is a joy to come on here, talk Palace. Some days more negative than other days, but thank you to all of you. Now the road has changed. Road to 10K. And we got more content lined up, more work to be done behind the scenes. But it's only right that I'll start the show by thanking you all for that. Genuinely appreciate you all. And let's see how long it takes for us to reach there. But T, how you been, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good, dude. Excited. 5K, man. That's fantastic for us.
It's a nice milestone. It's a nice milestone to hit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the community is growing. There's been
and I think what we have on the horizon, I think it's what we're gonna see even more growth.
Yeah. So we should have we should be having more, as T said, more content, better content on the way. Fingers crossed for that. When it's the right time, we will be announcing that, but hopefully sooner rather than later. Dee's wardrobe is back. Yes, my wardrobe is back. It's funny enough. Look, I wasn't even setting this up. As soon as we hit 5, that's when the wardrobe is back. It's natural. It's natural.
I thought he was upgrading to the new digs, man. I kind of like the wood wall you had in the back.
Maybe we can upgrade on the wardrobe, but yeah, it's hopefully that's coming soon. There's a lot of things I'm working on right now. T though, just a quick teaser. Today's news that we're going to be discussing. I mean, we've got Guehi on the agenda. We've got actually a player coming in as well from Chelsea potentially. Ayew talks again, and I mean, you might think, oh, Jordan Ayew conversation, what could be so interesting about that? The price tag involved with Jordan Ayew that's been reported is very interesting. And of course, it's not a Palace News episode if we don't mention Jezurun Rak-Sakyi at the end of the show, because that's like the finale. But maybe people will be talking about it for the last time. We might be talking about Rak-Sakyi leaving the club. Maybe for the last time. Fingers crossed. There's positive movement there.
Please.
Start with the Guehi, and then we'll move on to the other players, because Guehi one has been taking the main stand today. The third bid, as you can see, has been made from Newcastle. So there's a few reports. We'll be going through all of them right now. So let's start off. Sky Sports Keith have called that Newcastle made the third offer for Marc Guehi, a bid closer to £65 million valuation. Guehi is keen on the move. That's what he's reported. However, Newcastle's new offer for Guehi is worth an initial £55 million bid, rising to 60 with add-ons. So Sky Sports Keith said that it's closer to 65 million valuation. But Sammy Mokbel from the Daily Mail has said that bid is reportedly 55 to 60 with add-ons. The previous offer was in a region of around £48 million, rising to beyond 50 with add-ons. So they've improved it to 55, rising to 60 now with add-ons. However, he did also mention this, which is very interesting, that Guehi, of course, has just under 2 years left on his deal, which everyone knows, allowing him to negotiate for free transfer in January 2026. But Palace, of course, are eager to avoid this. So they are prepared to offer him a new deal that would make him one of the club's highest paid players ever. Let's land on that, T. What's your thoughts about Newcastle third bid, 55 reportedly, with 6 including add-ons, which is below our valuation of around 65. And also, Guehi could potentially be our highest ever paid player. And we're talking about a club that had Zaha saving him season on season, and Guehi can still beat that record.
I like the move. The reason being is because it's a really big determinant on how we should be moving going forward. By putting that offer out there of a big money move to keep him on a long term contract, if he accepts it, that lets us know that he wants to be at Palace. He wants to stay at Palace. If he says no, it gives us clear and present understanding that he needs to be moved on. So I think the great thing about this for us as a club is that we will have, I guess you would say, 100% understanding of which way we need to be going with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great move because I don't think you want to be trying to be in this situation a year from now when he only has a year left on his contract and his value is significantly less. So right now, while his value is the highest for us that it could be at the moment, we make this move. So if he takes the deal, he signs long term, great. He's in place. We love him. He's probably going to be club captain. But if he says no,
would you rather he signs the new deal and becomes Palace's highest ever paid player, potentially, according to the Daily Mail reporter, who's he's been reporting a lot of Palace stuff, or
I'd be
would
happy
you
with
bank in on that 60 to 65 million pound for Guehi? Because
I'd
could
be
that
happy
not
with
upset
it.
other players like Eze, and could that not have a domino effect on Eze, on Wharton, and other players at the club that are performing at a high level?
I don't think it. I think the domino effect is the fact that players are setting themselves up to make more money. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, when you look at it
For the
in
players,
like,
good. For the club, that could have a effect in terms of other players knocking on the door saying, "Hold up, Guehi's now you've clearly got money to keep making him highest ever paid player in your history. Let me get a bonus as well. Let me get a wage increase."
and I mean, and we had guys that have. I mean, the thing, if you think about it, Eze's deal is what helped Guehi get to this point. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like in professional sports, that's kind of the way things work. I mean, that's why we are where we are right now with these exorbitant transfer fees, is because Harry Maguire went for $80 million, 80 million pounds, and now it's like, okay, well, you want Marc Guehi, and we think Marc Guehi's better than him or just as good as him, so we're gonna need somewhere around there. So I mean, that's kind of like the way it works. You're like setting the market, so to speak. So if anything, if Marc Guehi goes out and signs that deal, if I'm Adam Wharton, it's like, yeah, it might not be my time right now, but when my time comes, I'm going to set myself up for a big payday because of the fact that he stepped up the market. So I mean, people can look at it different ways, though. D, you know what I'm saying? You could have somebody coming in and saying, "Hey, I'm looking to get paid." I don't know. Somebody stupid, Jeff Schlupp. Oh, Jeff, you trying to get paid? Get out. But it can work in a multitude of ways. But me personally, I'd be fine with them signing that deal, though.
Yeah, and get involved in the chat as well. I'm reading through all the comments. Take money and give Eze a new deal. Some people are saying take the money.
Don't forget, Eze's older than him too.
Yeah.
Eze's 3 years older than him.
Yeah, he is. And maybe Eze could work. I think Eze right now, anyways, is the face of the club. So keeping Eze is more important than keeping Guehi. But there are reports that suggesting that if Palace do not accept this offer, Newcastle could potentially walk away. They could look at alternative options. Would you rather they walk away for about £5 million offer valuation if it's 55 plus 5 with add-ons, so £60 million in total? We want reportedly £65 million, or do we take this offer right now? Because it seems like we're kind of, the decision hasn't been made yet. I think the contract situation makes it difficult as well.
With the reason why I go with no, I don't have a problem with walking away from it. Like, I think it's probably the move to make if they decide to not go forward and be fine with that. It's because of the fact that the valuation just is not being met, and you have to realize that 20% of whatever we agree upon goes to Chelsea. So our value, I wouldn't say it's loaded, but it has to be loaded a little bit, because it's like, okay, you have Marc Guehi, who in our mind is what we would say is at least a 70 million pound player.
Yeah,
In saying that, does that mean insane? And that's not crazy at all, especially with how much center backs go for and things like that, the market. But in saying that, do we say that as in we believe he's worth 70 million coming back to us, or is he worth 70 million overall? Because if we sell for 70 million right now, we're not getting 70 million for him. So it's like, if you really value a guy at 70 million, then that means they need to meet our valuation of him for us to get that 70 million.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
of
saying?
course, that's going to be on profit. That's going to be on profit. But
But
then
if you
people
sell
also
him
saying
now,
that,
if you sell him right now at for 55, we're not going to see 55. That means we'll
yeah,
probably be around 40s. We're barely pushing 50 million.
I don't know if it'll be around
Overall.
40s because we signed it for around 20. Is it not
20.
around
We
20?
signed it for 20. We signed it for 20, but we're 20% in the hole. So
Yeah, but then so you take away the 20 from that 55 if we were to do it.
we're in the 40s now.
20% around that, yeah.
We're in the 40s for Marc Guehi.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that's why Palace are not budging, and that's why
That's what I'm
Newcastle made the
saying.
first bid right now.
So if you're not meeting, that's why the standard has to be the standard, man. Like if they can't meet it, then so be it. Because honestly, if we're gonna be saddled with 45 million after it's all said and done, we might as well just wait until he's got 1 year left and sell him for a cut rate price, because we could
But then
probably get 45 million.
We're gonna get less.
No, I mean, I'm saying we could probably get that 45 down the road rather than taking it right now, is what I'm saying.
Look,
Because
if this contract news thing is true, then we test the waters right now. We test the waters right now before accepting or rejecting a bid. Because if that is true and we are willing to make him highest ever paid player in our history, then if we're going to do that, we test it right now. Because the risk with this is that, for me, I don't think we should budge. We shouldn't budge for Newcastle. Like we should keep it as 65. I think £65 million is right for Guehi. It is. I mean, this is a player that started for Euros, started for England in the Euros. That's been consistent in Premier League. That's been consistent, and I mean, he was consistent in the international level. One of England's best players. That is a fair price, and Newcastle should be. You know, if they're that tight and they don't want to pay extra £5 million, then we can play that game as well. So we shouldn't have to sell our defender if it's not in our terms. He doesn't have a release clause. That's a big part of this. And when we're coming to selling some of these players as a football club, some people are saying, you know, if we were to go to Newcastle demands and drop our valuation down further, then it's not really a great look from the football club. It depends on how you view the situation. Everyone's opinion is different about it. But I think now's a perfect time. Now's a perfect time to put the money on the table, tell Guehi, look, this is how much we're willing to offer for you. Are you going to sign it or not? If he doesn't sign it, Dirty, it gets a bit risky. As much as it's very hard, because if we want around £65 million and Guehi says no, I don't want to sign a new deal, losing Guehi, I'm not saying we'll lose Guehi for free, but that valuation is naturally going to drop come January, come next summer, if he's not signing a new deal, because he's got less left and there's barely anything left till it runs out. So for me, I don't know. The first step I take right now is I knock on Guehi's door and I say, look, this is our deal. Do you take it or not? Then we go from there, because Newcastle could potentially walk away. I don't know if they're calling it a bluff, but they could potentially walk away after this bid. That's what the reports are suggesting. So,
as they probably should after a third bid.
I don't think it's an easy decision, because I want us to stand on our ground, but also I don't want us to lose out on making the most out of Guehi for about £5 million being off our valuation. So it's a headache. It is a headache. But yeah, hopefully it should be getting sorted by the end of the week, as Dan is saying. Chelsea get 20% of the profit.
Which, by the way, if it's 20% of the profit, because I was just doing the math, let's say we sell him for 55 million. We bought Guehi for 20 million. So 55 minus 20 puts us at 35 million. When you multiply 35 million times that 20%, that 0.2%, they would stand to make 7 million off of the profit itself.
So how much was that?
7. So
7 million.
total.
So
So
7 million.
total. So we sell Guehi for 55. Chelsea gets 7 of that 55.
Okay. Yeah. So we get off the 55s then. Of course, we go in the 40s as you mentioned. That's what we dropped down to, high 40s, but that's still. But then again, look, I think that's the most sensible decision for me, anyways. Everyone's got their own opinion. You put the money on the table now, and if he says no, then you sell him. Then you sell him. Unless you want to play the long game and see if Newcastle come with another bid, it's a risky move because they're saying that they might go after alternatives. But I'm just worried about losing Guehi for lower price because right now it does seem like Newcastle are the only club that are serious. That do want Guehi. So if there was competition, then I'll say, all right, cool, Newcastle can go out the door. But if there isn't major competition and teams are not maybe willing to pay that kind of money in this market, then Guehi might stay, which will be fantastic right now. But I'm worried about the future outcome. Right. But then again, I know this is all hypotheticals, but let's say we have a very good season under Glasner. Maybe his mind does change if we get into European football or go and have a decent cup run. So, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but sensibly, I think that would be the next move. Northampton Eagles saying 65 million plus add-ons. And Dan saying if Marc does go, we have plenty of money to reinvest into the squad and we will have a very strong squad. Geordie Dread saying 55 million plus 7.5 add-ons. Madness for me. Yeah, I know.
Michael was saying here.
He hasn't been happy with that. He doesn't. He's a Newcastle fan. And I know he hasn't been happy with the club offering that kind of money for Guehi. But I think Guehi would be incredible for Newcastle.
Michael, you're saying here we bought him for 18 million. I've seen from now 2 different sources on here that he was purchased for 23.4 million euro, which translates to right at 20 million pounds, 19.98 million.
20, there's not far off. There's not.
Yeah. I mean, still, like,
end of the day, 7 million, 5 million, depending on what you see. Like, we're not getting all of that money, so we're talking 50 to 45 million comes to Palace after Chelsea get their money. So let's see. Let's move on to the next bit of news. Of course, there's more than just Marc Guehi. And let's start off with let's talk about Jezurun Rak-Sakyi quickly. Let's just get it out of the way because there's other juicier news than Jezurun Rak-Sakyi. But according to Alan Nixon, Jezurun Rak-Sakyi is a target for Saudi Arabian club who will fight Leicester City for a signature. But people, the most important thing right now is not just that, it's the valuation. Apparently, the Eagles are looking for around £10 million for the Ghanaian and have been contacted by middlemen for the Middle East League. £10 million for a player that is 32, that has a year left on his deal. That's basically us saying, well, we're gonna pay £2 million for Ismail Assar. One out, one in. That would be incredible business.
Yeah, that's unbelievable business. And I mean, to be honest, it's not far from what we've seen with a lot of these Saudi transfers, these UAE Saudi transfers. I mean, think about it. When Chelsea sold N'Golo Kante over there, they got like almost 30 million for N'Golo Kante, and he was well past his prime. You know what I mean? And if we're talking about, like, we're comparing, N'Golo Kante's level was up here and, Jordan Ayew's levels down here. So, but 10 million for a guy like Jordan Ayew, who, once again, we only paid 3 million for, I believe.
That would be incredible. Yeah. That would be incredible business from the club if we manage to get that much. And Ayew's not a bad player as well. But then again, even Leicester, And
no, Evan, I'm agreeing with you here. I know he has a lot of notoriety. And he was past his prime, and he went for 30 mil. What I'm saying is Jordan Ayew is a solid player who's past his prime too, but we find ourselves getting close to 10 million from him. I'm saying it's on par with what we're seeing from those Saudi transfers in the past.
Yeah.
Basically, just guys are going for a lot more than what they would be worth on the open market usually.
Well, look, if we manage to pull that off, I think it's a sensible move right now. But then again, people were speaking about Sar's performance after the friendly. I don't know if I've done it in the live. We spoke about in the live match reaction and watch along as well. I don't know if Sar's ready for that number 10 role. I think he's got his his strengths are not really. What are you looking for at the number 10? Of course, it was his first game. Maybe he needs a bit of adjusting period. But if you lost Ayew, I still need to bring in and potentially another number 10. I'm a bit worried
first and
about
foremost,
being a backup to Kamada.
Right. First and foremost, I agree with you. I agree with you fully. As far as like he's not ready for it. No, I don't think he's ready for it at all yet. Because we're asking him to do something he's never really done before in his footballing career. He's always been a wide man. Like that's been his job. You know, he's done some striking too, but I think the job that's being asked of him in being that in that dual 10 role, playing in the half space, not being out wide as much, you know, it's something brand new for him. And if you watched him, you know, I paid a lot of attention to him when he came on. It kind of felt like he just didn't know what he was supposed to do or where he was supposed to be or what his job was. Like he spent a lot of time. And one of the things I've noticed from this, he tried to get in behind a lot. And that's not necessarily what that role is. It does very often. Like you're not always trying to play off the shoulder of the final defender in that role. You're taking the ball to feet a lot. You're playing off of other players. So I think what it is, he just needs time. He needs time to bed into the role, to the system, to understand what he should be doing in those situations and how to play, you know. So I think he has the intangibles to do the job, the ability to do the job. He just has to understand and what it takes to do it and what, more importantly, somebody like an Oliver Glasner wants from him in that role. So I think I'd give him some time. I think we should give him some time, but not to say that we don't need to bring anybody else in, but
that's what I'm worried about. We give him some time, but how much time would he need to adapt to that role? I don't know. And Kamada, I want Kamada to have a decent. I want to go for it next season. Like I want us to push on. So yeah, as we've got money, I don't know. Let's see. All the number 10s now, it's become confusing. Where they're exactly going to play. Let's move on to a young, exciting midfielder, and that is Carney Chukwuemeka from Chelsea. And according to Edward Brack, is that Palace are keeping tabs on the situation for the Chelsea midfielder. He's reportedly has a release clause in the region of £40 million in his current Chelsea deal. Palace want a replacement for Michael Olise. Would it be an Elise replacement for you? There's been people debating and saying that he won't be an Elise replacement. It's not really his position to play as like a number 10 or so, which I
don't agree with. I mean, he has great attacking acumen. He can do it. He can definitely do it. And I guess it's the idea of, so in this situation with a guy like Olise was a wide player that really made his way into that inside forward 10 role. This will be the opposite. This will be a player who has been more of a central role player. So kind of similar to what Eze made the transition from. He's more of a central midfielder that's making that transition into it. Do I think Carney Chukwuemeka could do it? Absolutely, without a doubt. And you know, you just have to think about the fact that, you know, you're adding another right-footed player, but at the same time, in Glasner's second year at Frankfurt, he rotated like 3 or 4 different guys in that right 10 spot, and all of them were right-footed. So it's not necessarily something he's not accustomed to. I think it just matters how much the player is able to play with both feet too.
And another thing, I guess, to delve into in the story is the price tag of around £40 million release clause, but reportedly we're willing to bid around £20 million. Do you think, I don't know why they'll be upset with us, but do you think there could be some bad blood between Chelsea and Palace after the Olise saga? It's not really that Elise rejected them, but maybe they still feel that way. But I just don't really see us spending around £40 million. Do you?
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I don't think the 40 million to be met by any means.
He's got injury concerns as well. We spoke about this with Smith Rowe. Of course,
he has an injury history, not as significant as a Smith Rowe, but
Rowe, which is less than that. And I don't know if we'd be willing to spend that kind of money. But then again, Chelsea, because of how many players have they got now? They're trying to play every other day, 50 in the squad. They might be, willing to have a deal to try and push.
They need to do business. That's the first thing. That's the first thing that kind of makes me think about the fact of the whole bad blood situation and why it might not factor in so much, because Chelsea needs to do business, point blank, period. But it might be more similar to what we saw with Amari Hutchinson when he went to Ipswich. Hutchinson had a higher evaluation and a higher release clause, but they made that deal with Ipswich in the 20s. I think they paid about 25 for Hutchinson. So I could see something like that possibly happening, but it just depends. But I think something could be done.
There's been a few murmurs throughout the window potentially, but now it's been announced again. Let's see how serious we are. Let's see if that story develops or if it dies down there, because it's the first time in a while since we mentioned him. I can't remember the last time we spoke about him. So yeah, could potentially happen. But in Chelsea, I think there are opportunities there, like we've seen with likes of Guehi, that you can find these gems that they might be sleeping on, and that's what they've been doing for a while. So
yeah.
Potential player there. By the way, people, if you are enjoying the stream, please hit the like button. It helps us out massively, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. There's loads of content coming out this week, from match previews, some player ratings, some match reactions, some watch-alongs, everything's happening this week, of course, as we have Brentford coming up, so make sure to do that. And also, if you have any questions, as we're gonna wrap up after the story, we're gonna go to the questions. The last story, put a Q and a dot before it, we'll pin it and answer it towards the end of the show. Now, let's go to the last bit of news, and that's from Edmund Brack once again, and that Sheffield United are set to win the race for Jezurun Rak-Sakyi. The 21-year-old is poised to have his medical with the Blades today. We believe that's now completed, so hopefully that should be announced within the next 24 hours. T, we're going to keep this brief. We're going to move on to the questions. Please, let this be the last time. As much as I love Jez, please let this be the last time.
Get it over with.
We spoke about Rak-Sakyi, believe it or not, if you're new to the channel, we spoke about Rak-Sakyi, I think, more than Eze, Elise, Guehi. Like, it's been going on for ages. But finally, it seems like he's got a destination. Fingers crossed, it all happens and goes through. It seems like Sheffield United is where he's going. Is that the right move?
I think it's a good one. It's a good one. I go back to the success of McAtee from Man City when he was there. And I think Jez is that quality. I think he could be just as good as that kid. So, he had a really successful spell at Sheffield, and he got the playing time that you would want from a loan move for a player too. So, I don't have a problem with the move. I think it's pretty. And we're talking about a team that's going to be competing at the top end of the championship more than likely too. So.
Yeah, for me, I'm still going to side by the opinion that we could have potentially done a job at Palace, or what do I know? Of course, Palace.
And I don't doubt that either. I don't doubt that.
That's exactly. As a backup option, Michael Elise is leaving, and all the players that's been mentioned, who's close player to Michael Elise, I think Jezurun Rak-Sakyi fits into that category in terms of dribbling ability and what he can do. And I thought he would have been a more than capable backup option to Kamada, but clearly Glasner doesn't think so. And of course, I would listen to Glasner rather than me, because I trust Glasner as a manager. And let's go to some of the questions now, and let's start off with Ash. If you got Carney, Madueke, Chalobah, LaCroix, and some cash, could you stomach losing Guehi and Eze? How much would it take? How much would it take? I guess I'm trying to ask. If you got Carney, Madueke, Chalobah, LaCroix, and stuff, it's not about the players that we bring in. Look, Guehi, I'm open with, but we need to try to keep Eze. We need to try to keep Eze right now. That's the one that I'm looking at. We have to try to keep Eze. But some of these players are very exciting, without a doubt. But I think it's about having that stability and trying to build on it rather than losing. I mean, a squad improves, right? See, I don't know if squad improves.
I think if you lose those two players and add guys with that quality, Chukwuemeka, Madueke, Chalaba, LaCroix, Cash, yes, your team improves. I mean, I'm not going to say that it doesn't, because those are all quality players, not to mention money that can be used for more players. So I could stomach it. Now, do I see that happening? Do I see Chelsea offloading three guys to us, along with us then being able to pick up LaCroix? Probably not. But, I mean, if that happened, I mean, it definitely wouldn't be the end of the world for us by any means.
Madueke, that's a player that I'm looking at as well. I would not be against that.
I love Noni. I love Noni.
Yeah, you've been saying it for a while. Yeah, you have been saying it.
That's Crystal Palace born and bred right there.
Yeah, bring him
Like
home.
for me, bring him home.
Exactly.
He's left footed. They talking about the fact that they might let him go if the money is right. We was willing to possibly throw out around 30 million for Emile Smith Rowe. Like, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
See, and that's a player that apparently he could be on the market as well. I think Newcastle after him. So let's see what happens with that. Pete saying 60 million a fair fee for Guehi all round, surely. That's from Pete from Loading. Make sure to check them out for Newcastle content. I hear it. I hear where you're coming from, but for Palace, I think we value him even higher than the 65. But because of the contract situation, that's how low we're willing to go right now. So it's I wouldn't say it's a bad fee.
It's not a bad fee. It's just not good enough.
I think it's potentially a fair. Yeah, I'll say it is a fair fee, but us being us and money going towards Chelsea, I think we want to make sure we get exactly what we want. So yeah, let's see.
I feel like that's one of those offers. That's one of those amounts that if both sides walked away from the table, they could feel okay with what they did in the negotiation, because Newcastle can feel like they really put in the effort and try to put in something that they felt was somewhat marketably fair for him, and we can walk away with understanding that we had our negotiations, we came close, and our value was very close to being met, but we stood on our value. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if we sell them for 60 in that situation, we probably pocket 52 of it, because about 8 will end up going to Chelsea through that 20% on profit. And it's like, for us, it's like if we sold Marc Guehi right now for 52 million net, that's significantly lower than our valuation. Like, if you value somebody at 70 million pounds and you only come out with 52 for them, you're gonna feel like you undersold. I mean, I feel like that's natural. So
yeah. We're going to quickly go through these last 2 questions because I do have to wrap up. I got something that's quickly come up. So let's go through them, people. And then, of course, we'll be back tomorrow, or you can leave down your questions and conversation down below, and I'll try to answer them after the stream ends. Animal saying, is it better to replace Johnson with a young goalie like Cooper, or goalie in the twilight of their career? For me, I think it's more about the price. I think that's important. But I would prefer a younger goalie. It makes sense. Henderson will get older, then eventually we want a younger goalie, develop them within the club, and then let them come through the ranks. So yeah, I'll prefer a younger goalie. UT?
It's a tough one. That's a tough call, because I think the topic came up similar to saying, like, I think with Cooper is like, if you go and you buy Cooper, does he possibly block then the pathway for somebody like Whitworth or Goodman?
Yeah.
But at the same time, then I pivoted and was like, maybe, but maybe not, because who knows what happens with Dean Henderson after this year. If Dean Henderson does really well and maintains his role with the England national team, maybe somebody comes calling for him on a bigger move. So then you want to have your young goalkeepers in line to be the successors. One to be the guy who steps in, and the other one to be the guy who backs up. So, I mean, honestly, with that in mind, and the fact that we have an older guy as the third with Remy, I probably would go with a younger, more ready goalkeeper.
Yeah. Sorry, people, but I do have to end it here. I normally wouldn't do this, but I genuinely have something that just come up, which is important, that I just have to go to. But thanks to every single one of you that's tuned in. Once again, if you have any questions that you want answering, you can ask them in future streams. comment down below. Also, thank you once again to all and every single one of you that's liked, that's subscribed. We've reached 5K. Of course, we're aiming higher. This is only one step across the way. Next up, 10K. Let's see how long it takes for us to get there. But it's good. It's good, and the community is growing. But sorry, people,
Absolutely.
we're going to end it here. And until next time, up the palace.
Up the palace.